On today's episode, I'm going to be talking about leaving personal training on as a more full-time role and the venture into online coaching and other kind of avenues and kind of how I got started with all of that and progressed. So some tips for you guys as personal trainers if you're listening, or clients even, understanding the journey and kind of everything involved. So I hope you enjoy this episode, guys. Tune in now. Welcome to the Breakthrough the Bullshit podcast. I am your host, Alice Round. I am pumped to have you here. We are going to really strip back all of the bullshit surrounding nutrition, training, fad diets, everything in the industry so that we can give you education to get the best possible results. So sit back, enjoy the ride, and let's go through all this bullshit. Welcome back to another episode, and I would just like to say sorry, it has been a little while between podcasts, but I got a nice new little schedule, had a few little technical issues. I normally record them on an app on my phone, and my phone died last week. So I actually lost a few podcasts that I'd pre-recorded. I had recorded 3 episodes, so I'm going back and doing them now. Anyway, enough excuses, enough of that. I am not about that. I am about positivity and looking forward and challenging yourself. And I do believe that shit happens for a reason. And that probably happened because I was trying to do so many things, and it was kind of like the universe's way of saying slow down. So anyway, we're back here. We are in for another episode now, and I'm talking about a topic that I get emailed about a fair bit. So I thought I may as well cover it in a podcast because I'm sure there's some aspiring coaches out there or people that are wanting to break into the fitness industry, whatever it is. I thought I would do a little chit chat about, I guess, reasons why I don't like the way that personal training is going, a lot of it, and then also kind of online coaching, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So I guess from my perspective, I started out personal training when I was about, I think it was second year of uni. So I think I was 19. And for me, I was getting into PT because I was studying sports science, and it was kind of just something that you could do while you're at uni, but also something that's in the industry. So I was actually working at the airport, and I had a really good job there in terms of the amount that I got paid as a student was awesome. So when I actually started PTing, I was earning a lot less than what I was at Qantas. So basically, it kind of was that first step, and a lot of people said to me, you're going to be on less certain income, you're going to have to build your client base. So I kind of made sure that I'd saved a bit of money going into that, kind of knowing that it may be a little bit quiet, and I was working for a gym that basically paid me. So you're going to have a few options as a personal trainer. The first one is that you're going to have some gyms that will get you to pay rent. I wasn't that keen on that as a first-time trainer out because I just didn't know how I'd go with it and didn't really want to get locked into something. So that is one of the concerns with paying rent. Most gyms now have rental agreements where you'll kind of go on a sliding scale. So you might be starting on, $50 or $100 a week, and then it might increase from there, or it might increase based on how you're going getting clients. That is probably a way that I think is better, but at the same time, some PTs can be a bit lazy, and they're like, I'll just stay on this amount of clients and I only have to pay this amount of rent. So in saying that, basically I started working at a gym in Nedlands, so Claremont area, and I was going to uni at Joondalup. So it was a pretty big drive. I was living kind of in the middle in Woodlands. So I would go and start sessions at 5:30 in the morning. And I would probably do, if I had uni that morning, a lecture at 8:30. I would still go to work before that. So I'd go and PT at 5:30 for a couple of clients and drive all the way to Joondalup, go to uni, go to athletics training, and then drive back to Claremont. Luckily, my training was quite close by, so that actually worked out quite well. So that was pretty much my general day. On days that I didn't have uni or days that I had uni in the afternoon, I would just PT more clients in the morning. And it didn't really take me that long to get busy, but I wasn't being paid that well. So basically I was doing a lot of half an hour sessions. So most sessions will be 30, 45 or 60 minutes in length, based on what you want to do personally. And then where the gym that I was working at was more of a private women's only gym. So it was really easy to get busy, because the gym actually gave you a lot of clients. They kind of held your hand through it, which was part of the reason why I wanted to go there. I wanted to go somewhere that had leads, that would give me clients, because obviously no one had any idea who I was. I was just another personal trainer. So I think that if you're starting out and you don't really have a background in this industry, or you don't really have a voice yet, I would definitely not expect that it's going to be that easy to get clients. There is so many PTs out there, and I think it's almost a little bit naive when people kind of come out of fit college or whatever and say, oh yeah, I'm going to now have this career and I'm going to be earning thousands of dollars. Like it does not work that way. I can tell you that much. I'm going to be brutally honest with you in this podcast about being a personal trainer. So I think when I started over 11 years ago, it was easier. There was less PTs, and there was probably less quality PTs out there than what there is today. There was no kind of online coaching, so everyone had to go to the gym to get help. There was no social media. There was none of that. It's crazy what's changed over the last few years. So the only form of social media really from memory was Facebook. I did start up my coaching page, probably I think the second or third year into PT. But the first year, really, everything was just over email with clients. I used to like print out their programs and bring them to their sessions and all of these things. And anyway, so it probably took me, I would say 6 months to kind of get quite busy at the gym, maybe a little bit sooner. But because I was at uni, I couldn't really be a full-time PT anyway. So I think I capped it at about 35, 40 sessions before I started to really struggle with uni. But keep in mind, most of those sessions were half an hour. So I was probably working about 20, maybe around 20 hours, because some of them were group sessions that were a bit longer. And then obviously uni full time. And then also I was doing athletics back then, so I was training a lot. Then I kind of started doing programming for clients and a few little bits and pieces from home. And kind of adding to my workload. So I was probably adding in another 10, 12 hours there. So it got quite busy. And then you've got to try to fit study in there as well. So I was getting paid back then, so wait for this, $12 for a half an hour session. So if I was doing, let's do some maths for a second. So let's say I was doing 35 sessions at $12, I was earning about $400 a week, minus tax. So obviously I wasn't paying GST at that point, but I was probably taking home maybe $350, $400 a week as a PT, being pretty busy in a gym. And after a while I got busy, and they had this rule where you had a sliding scale of income. So the more successful you became, the more you were booked out, all of those things, your pay would go up. So I remember when I left that gym, I was on $17.50 for half an hour, which I thought was so good back then. So if that was 35 sessions, we're looking at more like about $600. So after tax, about $550 a week, which is not bad for a uni student if you think about it. At this point, I was living at home. There was no way I could have moved out on that income and, been driving my car and doing all these things. So I was lucky that I was living at home with my dad. My parents had separated not long before that, gone through a divorce, and my mum moved away and dad was kind of left by himself. So my brother moved overseas. So I kind of it wasn't really a choice. It was more like I was there to support my dad. So I chose to stay at home, be with him, so he wasn't lonely. And then obviously it was really handy because he looked after me a little bit. I've never relied on people financially in my life, ever. I don't rely on my parents. They've never let me grow up with that attitude. They've always made me work. I got my first job when I was about 12. But I did actually pay a bit of board. So dad was always under the rule of once you hit 18, you have to pay some board, you have to pay your own way, buy your own food, all of those sort of things. So at that point, I was pretty much buying all my food. We'd have meals together and stuff like that, or he'd go buy bits and pieces and I'd throw in a bit of money. But that was kind of the way that I was brought up, that you had to pay your own way. You couldn't expect people to do things for you. And I think I just paid when I wasn't earning much, about $50 a week. And then it went up to $100 when I was earning a bit more. And then I think the most he ever made me pay was, about $100 a week. And so, I had it pretty good at home, but obviously you don't have the same freedoms when you're living at home. So from there, I kind of looked at my income and I kind of looked at what I was doing at uni, and I started really, really enjoying PT, and I thought that maybe at that point it could be more of a career. Up till then, I didn't really think that it could be a career. I kind of just saw it as a stepping stone job. Like, I'll do PT while I'm at uni, and then I'll end up working in a clinically as a dietitian. That was always the goal. How things changed. So basically, I finished my 3 years of sports science pretty much at that gym, and then I got into dietetics. And at that point, I've been going to another gym once a week just to do some kind of strength training sessions there. And at that point, I'd quit working at that gym because I was a little bit unhappy with what they were paying me at that point, when I kind of found out how much some other friends in the industry were getting paid. And I didn't really need any more client leads. So I probably got a little bit arrogant because I was young. And I kind of just decided to take sessions outside, which was all well and good, because in my head I was like, well, I can earn all the money. I don't have to pay anyone anything. I can just get equipment and run it all myself, do more group sessions, blah, blah, blah. So it all started out really good because it was summer, and I was like, this is great. I was probably earning, a lot more cash. Let's hope the taxation department isn't listening. A lot more cash PT, bits and pieces. I didn't really understand tax at this point. No one had ever explained it to us at uni or at school, which I really think that tax should be explained to kids at school. I don't know if it is these days, but it should be in the curriculum, because I learnt my lesson down that route, that's for sure. So I wasn't putting any money aside. I was probably still not earning a massive amount, but I wasn't working as many sessions a week. So I'd cut my hours back, and I was able to earn kind of the same amount, like $500-$600, which is still really good for a uni student. But then winter struck, and I kind of had a lot of clients drop off. A lot of them not want to train outside. A lot of them had kids, so they were using the creche when they trained with me at the gym. It just all got quite difficult. So at that point, I started struggling a little bit, and I thought maybe it's not the industry for me to be in. And then I got offered a job at another gym. And at that point, I didn't really want to go into a gym, but it was a gym that I thought I could really learn from. And I did. I did learn a lot about training from that gym, and I learned a lot from the people that worked there, a lot about technique, a lot about tempo. And I really started to get probably more into the training side of things, whereas before that I more thought I was going to go down the nutrition route. So I think a massive tip for anyone listening to this is, like, it's okay to work at a few different places. It's okay to kind of branch out and learn from different people and different mentors and all these different experiences you have in your life before you really find out where you want to be. So I think from there, I worked there for 1.5 years, and then I didn't really agree with a few things there. Nutritional side of things, I didn't think it was that healthy. So I left there, went to a commercial gym. I worked in Anytime for a while. It was pretty crazy. I just paid a small amount of rent a week, and it really allowed me to stay at uni and get through my uni degree. And then I left there, and then I worked at the Body Consultants because I was friends with Jimmy, who was opening that up, and he kind of poached me and said, what are you doing now? And I was at Anytime, and he kind of said, what things don't you like? And the issue that I had with your more commercial gyms like Anytimes was I was really enjoying taking group sessions. I was working at a really small Anytime at Inalo, and it was really difficult to take any group training. We didn't have any things like prowlers and sleds and all the stuff that I really love. We were limited with like 2 squat racks, and the boys were opening this big facility. So they said, look, you can have, kind of do what you want and run your clients out of here. And so that was all good. So I went and worked there for a while and really enjoyed it. Learned a lot from the boys. Hopefully maybe I taught them a little bit about training females over the years. And it was pretty good for a while there. But the problem was that I started realizing that online coaching was kind of where I wanted to be. And I started realizing that I was traveling a lot in this time. I'd started competing. That was getting really big. And I was traveling a lot. So I was going to shows, I was going to Europe. So that was when I kind of fell into online coaching. It was a case of me going away and me always being worried about my clients and not knowing what to do with them and wanting to keep on top of their nutrition. And also the fact that I was going away a lot. So I was losing a lot of income. So I was having to go away to compete and pay for my competitions. No, you don't get comps always paid for you. So I was going to worlds and stuff, which would cost me, $5,000-$10,000, like a lot of money. And then you're also losing income. And I was having to pay gym rent while I was away and home rent because I'd moved out of home by now and I'd bought a car. So I had a lot of outgoings at this point. And it kind of made me see, all right, well, how can I keep having some form of an income while I'm traveling? Because I've still got time to work, but how can I do this while I'm competing? So that kind of just fell into online coaching and how it kind of all began. Just working out a process of how my clients could check in with me, what rules we could create, what systems we could follow, and just doing email correspondence. So that's kind of how it all started a couple of years ago. And then when I got back from trips away, I realized that I really enjoyed it. And I realized that I really enjoyed not having these set 5 a.m. starts in the gym, and not even so much that, but the PT sessions were great, but you didn't get time in a PT session to go through like how your client's actually feeling in terms of their mindset, their stress that week, their digestive system, their nutrition. You don't get time for that in a 45-minute session. You want to train someone, you want to push them, you want to be there for that. You're going to ask them how they are, obviously, but it's not really about the nutritional side of things when you're PTing someone. And for me, that was a big part of it. I was like, I'm so passionate about clients getting results, but the nutrition's the thing that's the downfall. So that obviously needs to be followed up in an online sense, because I just didn't have more time to just sit with clients and just chat. So that's kind of where the online coaching really kicked off. So I don't know. I think what I'm trying to say with all of this is that you just kind of fall into things sometimes in life, and sometimes it's not the goal to be there, but it just kind of ends up going where your heart, takes it. Like I knew I was passionate about doing this, but I was kind of unhappy with certain things in terms of the PT sense, that I didn't get that time with my clients for the nutritional side of things, for the mindset side of things. And then also the hours of PT were absolutely killing me. And I know that sounds a bit soft, but by this point I'd probably been doing it about 7 years. And 7 years of getting up at 4 a.m. to go to work, and then going back to work at night and not getting home till 8, 9, 10 p.m. if I had to train after clients because I'd been at uni all day. It was just not a good lifestyle. So for me, it was like, all right, well, let's pull back a bit. Let's have a little bit of income from online and a little bit of income from PT, and then we've got the best of both worlds. And that's kind of where I'm at today. So I went from body consultants, and then, it just got too much. So basically when I was there, I was running classes. I was also helping educate the trainers. And then I was also running my online business kind of separate to the gym. And then I was also trying to be involved in the gym. And we were just kind of going in two separate directions. So I left there and I was like, okay, I'm just going to do online for a while and see how I go there. And it wasn't so much the financial side of things. I was earning enough money. I was, living out of home. I was paying my bills. I was doing everything. I'd even started macro snacks at that point. So it was just kind of one more thing to add to the list, which was why it was difficult when I was there. So all of that was going on, but I just felt a little bit empty, and I felt like I couldn't connect with my clients. And I was like, I need something where I can still connect with them. And I want to still run camps and seminars and do all of this stuff, but I don't have a base to do that from. And I wasn't willing to pay a gym $300-$400 a week just to train a few clients. It just wouldn't be financially sound. It's not worth it. And I don't think that sometimes clients understand that that's how much rent is. So we've got to charge a premium for our sessions to make sure that we cover not only our rent, but our GST, but our tax, but all of these things. So I want any trainers listening that are starting up, if you're charging $30-$40 for a PT session, you are not making any money. I can flat out say that to you. Once you take out your GST, your rent and your tax, and then also factor in the fact that you're working at 5 a.m., it's not the money you want to be on, guys. You're going to have to do 50, 60 sessions a week plus to make a living. So I wish that personal trainers out there listening would stop discrediting their services, stop charging so little for sessions, because the problem is people, if you're not confident in your abilities as a trainer, you'll just drop your prices, which is probably the worst thing that you can do. I will say that to everyone out there. If you're not charging your worth and you're not charging enough to make a living by not working 100 hours a week and running yourself into the ground and then giving inefficient sessions, then you're not valuing yourself at the end of the day. So let's break this down for a second. For the average personal trainer, let's say you're doing 40 sessions a week. Let's say they're 45 minutes, which is what I tend to do for sessions. Okay, so let's have a look at that. if you are doing that, you're working about 35 hours. So it's not too bad hours-wise. You're probably doing a bit of bookkeeping and a few back-end. Let's just say just PT, so no actual nutrition or anything like that. So you're doing 40 sessions, and I would say the average PT out there charges about $50 or $60 a session. So let's say 60, just to be generous. All right, so that's $2,400. You're like, okay, it's not bad. It's not bad. All right, now let's take out some tax. So we'll take out about 20%. We're left with $1,920. Now, most commercial gyms will charge around $300 a week rent. So let's take out $300. We're left with $1,620. Now let's take out, if you're having to pay GST, so let's take out maybe another 10%. It's probably a bit more than that. Left with $1,450. Now let's take out rent or mortgage repayments, which is probably $200 or $300 a week. Let's do $250. Now let's take out fuel and driving expenses, probably $100. Take out food. You're in the fitness industry, maybe $150, $100. So it's still not too bad. You're left with about $900. So it's pretty good, and that's obviously without bills and bits and pieces. But still, $900 a week for those hours and the work that you're doing, it's not that amazing. So if you're looking at that over the course of a year, it's really not that bad. You're still earning about $60K, but you've just kind of got to weigh up what you want to do with it. And if you're able to actually keep up those hours long term. So I would say if you're charging anything less than $60 a session, like the math that I just figured out, it's really, really not worth the time, to be honest, and also your energy and your worth and value for a session. So out of a $60 session, you're probably making maybe $35, $40 of that once you factor out all of those above. So they're kind of the cons with PT. I think that clients don't quite understand sometimes that there is those overheads, there is those expenses. And as you earn more money, there's obviously more tax and more GST to pay. That was the thing that I didn't know. Nobody told me when I first started in the fitness industry that once you earn over X amount, you have to start paying GST. So I got a nice scary GST bill along the way, which really made me do more of the number crunching, because I used to get a lot of cash PT and be like, oh, I'm doing so well, and not really worry so much about like the back end of the business and about being smart with my money. Also the fact that you're not getting paid superannuation, you've got to put that away yourself. There's so many things that you're missing out on when you run your own business. So I don't want this whole podcast to be about finances, but I do think that finances are a really important thing. Knowing your numbers is a big thing for personal trainers, knowing your worth, knowing your value, and respecting yourself and upholding that. So a really good way of being smarter financially as a personal trainer is running group sessions or semi-private training. So small groups, 3 or 4 people, even maybe up to 6. And then those clients are going to feel like they're still getting value for money because you're still able to be one-on-one with them. It's not like a big group session like an F45 where you're just running through and not getting any help with technique. But you're still maybe then able to charge them $20 or $30 each, and then they get the benefit of having you a bit more one-on-one, but then they can potentially do 2 or 3 sessions a week with you in that setting, but so can 6 other women. So I started doing a lot more of that because I knew my worth as a trainer, but I also knew that a lot of people probably weren't prepared to spend, $90, $100 on a PT session for a week. But then a lot of my girls would want to train with me a couple of times a week. So for them, $200, it's a lot of money to pay a week for 2 PT sessions. So a lot of them would do, say, 1 session and then a group session. And that way they could be able to afford that within their budget and still get to train with me twice a week. So that's a really good way as a personal trainer of when you know your worth, not downselling your own services, but then also keeping your clients happy by offering them something else that will really fit in with anyone's budget. So when it comes to PT, I think that's a massive part of it. I would honestly say that with online coaching, I probably spend more hours on it. And I think that that's something that most people wouldn't think. So for every client, say, that does a check-in with me, I probably spend anywhere from 20 minutes to 45 minutes replying back to a check-in. So it's almost as much as a PT session because I'm often asking them a question, then they'll reply back, and then another question, or I'll get on a phone call. All of these things that I might have to tweak a program or macros or a meal plan or whatever it is in that check-in process. I feel like it's much more thorough, but it is, again, I don't think some people charge enough for their services in that sense. So people charging $10, $20 for a check-in, when you're doing all of that and spending 30, 45 minutes on it, you would be better off staying in the gym and PTing, because again, it's less income and it's a lot of your time. So I think the big thing is value your worth and value your time while still giving people a service that you believe in and that you're getting results in. And a big thing for me was when I wasn't charging enough and I was on very low prices, I was completely run down and wiped out. I burnt myself into the ground because I wanted to earn a certain financial income to support my comps, to support living out of home, all of those things. So I had to train more clients, and what ends up happening is you just get burnt out because you want a certain income to support you, and then at the same time, you can't just keep taking on more clients. So the smarter thing to do if you're busy as a trainer is to adjust your pricing schedules, reassess it all, know your worth, and then work from there to a place where you can work an amount that creates happiness without completely running you into the ground. It's not just about money, guys. That's like a small part of it. It's about happiness. And I know that if I wanted to go back and do 40, 50, 60 PT sessions a week, I probably could, but I would absolutely run myself into the ground. So now I'm doing a little bit of gym Thursdays and Saturdays, that's it. And then everything else is online. And then if I go away or if I travel, I can still have an income. I can still keep my clients happy, still keep me happy and support myself. I have met so many burnt out personal trainers over the years. I've met so many online coaches who have failed. All of these things. It's a saturated market. It's a saturated industry. And you really have to know how to set yourself up if you want to be in this for the long haul. And I see this for the long game. I have so many visions of things that I want to do in the future for my clients, for women, for everything. I want to be guest speaking at events. I want to write books. I want to I'd love to be on TV doing all these things. I have so many dreams about getting out a message about dieting and nutrition, especially with the social media these days and portraying the way that women should look and how women should diet and really get through all the bullshit. That's my end goal. So I think if you're going to be in this industry because you think that it's good money, you're making a massive, massive mistake. It takes determination, it takes patience, it takes grind. You can have weeks where you get 10 clients who are sick, and I've had that happen before, and you literally don't make any money. You can have weeks where clients move away. I remember when a lot of the FIFO workers lost their jobs, and probably about half of my clients at that point online were FIFO workers. And PT is a luxury and coaching is a luxury. So as soon as they lost their jobs, they quit their coaching, which is completely understandable. But you've got to be ready for things like that to happen, where you've literally slashed your income in half and you can't even expect it. One of my friends and coaches, she started working for me. She had the same thing happen to her. The gym that she was working at upped their prices, and they were mums, and they upped the price of the creches. And she literally lost 12 clients in 1 week. She was earning like a couple $100, and her husband had to support her. And she's lucky that she had him, but for me personally, I've never ever relied on a guy for money. I've never relied on anyone for money in my life, especially when I moved out of home. So yeah, you can't fall back on something like that either. I think as a woman, you need to be motivated to have your own income, to have your own success, to do all those things. Because if you're, I probably sound like a friggin' feminist here, but I just believe if you're a woman and that relies on a guy for money, that you have to go to someone and say, hey, can I buy this? Can I do this? It's not empowering. It's not uplifting. I get it's different when you have children and you can't work and you're supporting a family. It's completely different. You're managing something together, and your job really is being a mum, I guess, at that point for a certain period of your life. It doesn't mean forever. You know, what happens when your kids are gone to school and they've grown up then, and sometimes women are left lost and they feel like they've got nothing. And that's really sad. And there are a lot of the women that I work with, and getting their mojo back and getting them back on track and having them feeling good about themselves because they've just given their whole, maybe 10 years of their life to having kids and being there for their husband and children. And then some of them will go through divorce and unhappiness, and their kids have moved up and moved away and they feel lost. So I think a big thing is having something that's your own. I don't think I'll ever not work, even if I have children. The goal will be for me to mold my life around me still being able to work because I love what I do. I love helping people. but still having the ability to spend time with children and do all that, which is, again, another reason why I went online. There's no way I could be getting up at 4 a.m. to go PT people if I was pregnant, 6 months pregnant, you know? It just wouldn't happen. It would be unhealthy. I would probably burn myself out and get very sick again. So, and that is a massive, massive one. Set up your life the way that you want to live it so that you're happy. It's not going to be easy. Like, this is definitely not going to be easy. I think that so many people aim for this life of perfectionism. They aim for the perfect job and the perfect kids and the perfect this and the perfect finances and the perfect that. It doesn't happen. I can tell you people that I know who are doing very, very well in life in terms of a business standpoint, even in terms of a relationship standpoint, but they still have their days and their things that kick them in the nuts, and that they have to really work out how they can recover from that. I just think sometimes that, you know, like, try to get away from what you think the perfect life will be and instead try to mold your life more towards what will make you happier. And I'm going to kind of wrap it up on that note, guys, because otherwise I'm going to turn this into a massive, massive episode. But yeah, that's a big one. Focus on what will make you happy and try not to focus on the financial side of things. So like I said, if you're getting into this industry because you want money and you think it's easy, you will fail. If you're getting into this industry because you want to help people genuinely, you want to change people's lives, you want to uplift people, you want to empower them, but you also want to support yourself and make this a career, then 100%, but you need to be smart about it, because otherwise you'll end up like I was the first few years and like so many other trainers, where you get burnt the fuck out, where you do 40, 50, 60 sessions and then you just hate stepping foot in a gym. And that has happened to me before. You train all these people, you motivate all these people, give them all your energy, and then you go to train yourself and you're absolutely fried. So be careful in how you want to set your business up. Focus on what gets you closer to happiness. Focus on what makes your clients happy, because they are your business, and look after your clients. Look after the people that are looking after you. And I thank all of my clients for putting up with me the last few years. So much has changed, and I'm always trying to grow and evolve my business in terms of not so much financial again, but more in the terms of making my clients happy, giving them a better service, upgrading their lives, and uplifting them, because it's a competitive industry and I need to keep also making sure that I'm giving a premium service and then knowing my worth in that market as well. So I'm going to leave it on that note, guys, but I really hope this helped any personal trainers out there. If you have any questions at all, be sure to let me know. I do get a lot of questions about whether or not I'm doing any mentoring. So a lot of people email me and say, oh, I'm going to start being an online trainer. Can you help me? And it's like, yes and no. I think that you need to be a trainer first and foremost to learn how to interact with people. I wouldn't just start in an online sense. Work in a gym for a few years is my best advice. Get to know people, get to know interactions, get good rapport with clients. And then if you want to then progress down the line to online, then that's a great way of doing things. But again, I think that you need that hands-on experience to be a good coach online. That's just my 2 cents anyway on the topic. The other one is, if you do want any assistance with that, I'm not doing any mentoring at the moment. I just simply don't have time for it. But I can refer you to some good people. The other thing that I would say is that if you want to learn off a good online trainer or a good coach, pay them to coach you. It's probably how I learned a lot of my stuff over the years. I've worked with John Meadows, I've worked with Lane Norton, I've worked with people, and I've paid them as a coach. And then they've helped me. Even some of my friends like Amy Fox has helped me with posing, which has helped me be a better posing coach. Invest in people that you see doing well if you want to learn from them. Because, guys, you can't go around expecting people to do stuff for free for you, especially if you respect them. And I think that's a massive thing. I have never, ever expected anyone to do anything for free for me in my life. If I want to learn off someone, I will say, how much do you charge? I will pay it. I will pay that premium because I respect them and I respect their time. I respect the years that they've got behind them. It's not so much about like seeing them as a trainer compared to one other trainer. You're seeing them for their years and years of experience, education, knowledge, everything that's gone into them. All of that. That is what you're getting when you pay someone. You're not just paying them for like the tangible shit, like, oh, what am I getting a week for coaching? No, you're paying for the education behind that person. You're paying for all of their knowledge that if you have a question about something tricky, they're probably going to be able to answer it. So my biggest piece of advice is, like I said, if you want to get a mentor or someone like that to help you or break into the industry, figure out what you need help with And if it's with being a better trainer, so nutrition, training, all of that, then I would say hire a coach that's been there before. If you've never worked with a coach, see how the process goes. If it's more from like the admin business side of things, then hire more of a business-based coach that is specific to the fitness industry. So that is my little summary of all of that, guys. I really hope you enjoy this episode. As said, feel free to email me if you have any questions at all, and I'll be sure to cover them in some upcoming podcasts. Last thing I will say is do a quick little plug for our upcoming comp prep seminar. So myself and my partner, Sean McClaney, bodybuilding extraordinaire, will be running a all-day comp prep seminar. So in the morning, it is girls. In the afternoon, it's guys. If you're a coach, I'd suggest you come for the whole day. We have 2 more spots in the all-female. We have 4 more spots in the guys and 2 in the all-day. So if you want to grab a ticket to that, it's super cheap. We just made it. We're doing this to get out our support for the industry, not so much, to charge people for it. We just want to kind of get some good info out there, guys. So if you want to learn more about comp prepping clients, about getting on stage yourself, then come down. It's on the 11th of June at Trevo Scarborough. So flick me an email to info@aliceround.com if you want to grab any information. And I will chat to you in the next podcast. See you guys. Thank you for listening to another episode of Breakthrough the Bullshit. If you enjoyed this podcast, I would love it if you could leave a review on iTunes. Let me know, comment what you'd love to see more of, and be sure you've also subscribed on YouTube and iTunes for updates. And if you'd like more info, then you can also add the Team Round Support Facebook page, which is available to access for all of you, and you just simply need to search for it on Facebook.